Xenophobic attacks spark South African government response. Parliamentary poll taking place in regions where voting was delayed in DR Congo. And Somalis reshuffle top military personnel following Al-Shabaab attacks. Hello everyone, welcome to Africa Live on CGTN with me, Beatrice Marshall in Nairobi. Also coming up this hour, Egypt joins the World Earth Hour with its future administrative capital. And South Africa's national blind cricket team seeks to reclaim its top status. We begin in South Africa, where the government has called for an urgent meeting of African ambassadors to discuss the current spate of violence against foreign nationals and their properties in the coastal Durban area. The Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Lindiwe Sisulu, has also called on law enforcement officers to deal with criminals and those damaging property with the full might of the law. Here's CGTN's Lisa Jamela.
The reports emanating from Durban that foreign nationals are being targeted in sporadic xenophobic-related outbreaks. Many of them have been forced to seek refuge at local police stations. The foreign nationals have been left destitute and homeless. The attacks reportedly started last Tuesday when local residents allegedly went around the area raiding houses of foreign nationals, leaving them without places to sleep. Mayor of the area, Zandile Gumede, says the attacks are a criminal offense and perpetrators will be dealt with. She says the situation is being dealt with and those who are displaced will be given a place to stay as soon as authorities deal with the situation. In a statement on Saturday, International Relations and Cooperation Minister Lindiwe Sisulu expressed serious concern about the situation and called on law enforcement officers to deal with criminals and those damaging property with the full might of the law. She added that the African continent had contributed and sacrificed a lot for South Africans to be free and be liberated from the apartheid government. Zambia's High Commissioner to South Africa, Emmanuel Mwamba, also noted with deep concern reports of what he says appear to be a sudden rise of xenophobic attacks against foreign nationals living here in South Africa. Law enforcement authorities are monitoring the situation. Yolisa Njavela for CGTN in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Works of the 30th Arab Summit kicked off on Sunday in Tunis in the presence of heads of Arab states and delegations and representatives of international organizations. Tunisian President Beji Caid Essebsi proposed that the 30th edition of the Arab Summit in Tunis be held under the keynote, a summit of willingness and solidarity.
Tunisian President Beji Caid Essebsi said that challenges and threats facing the Arab region cannot be solved separately. He urged Arab leaders to reinforce confidence and cooperation between them.
It is important to preserve and to regain the initiative to solve our problems by our own means, which requires to overcome first all the disputes and conflicts, improve the Arab environment, and foster real solidarity bonds between us.
The Arab League slammed U.S. moves to undermine Syria's sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
We jointly condemn U.S. recognition of Israel over control of the Golan Heights. The decision will only escalate tension in the region. The Golan Heights are Syrian-occupied lands.
Participants agreed on the importance of a political agreement and peace settlement in Libya under the auspices of the Arab League, the UN, the African Union, and the EU.
Preventing an escalation of the crisis in Libya is a priority for all Arab states. Organizing a Libyan reconciliation forum and holding elections this year in Libya will guarantee security. Otherwise, the situation will be out of control in the whole region.
Arab leaders called for a firm determination to identify the causes of the failures in the Arab Joint Action, which will help.
The only way to preserve sovereignty and territorial integrity of a state is the initiation of a genuine political settlement process in Syria, Yemen and Libya, and to prevent any attempt of foreign interference in Arab affairs. Abden Shawishi, CGTN, Tunis.
March the 30th marks what is known as Land Day for Palestinians. It is a commemoration of the 1976 movement that has escalated into international rallies calling for Palestinians' right to return to their occupied land. Cairo has hosted a display of solidarity to renew calls for Palestinian rights. They've also rejected the recent violations of the United Nations, which recognized occupied territories as part of the State of Israel. Here's Adil Mahroui with more.
The Palestinian Land Day marks a significant change in the Arab-Israeli conflict. That day has become a display of solidarity, which Egyptian politicians have been keen to commemorate.
The least we can do as Egyptians is to support the Palestinian cause by all means, morally or through sending medicine or any kind of aid. We also hold protests to urge our governments to activate international agreements to face this Zionist movement.
Palestinian Land Day comes this year after US President Donald Trump has recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital and Syria's Golan as an Israeli territory, defying international resolutions.
There is a weakness and difference among the Arab world. Israel is using that in its favor. The US President Donald Trump is taking decisions as if he is above the international law. Jerusalem and Golan are not properties of the United States that he can give them to Israel. This display of force is not acceptable, especially from the United States, which has founded the United Nations, an organization that has a clear position against the 1967 territories which Israel occupies.
In 1976, Israel announced a plan to expropriate thousands of acres owned by Arabs of Israel and other Palestinian-owned lands. Massive rallies broke in objection. That move is still commemorated on March 30th every year.
Palestinian Land Day comes at a time Arab leaders are gathering in Tunisia trying to revive a solution for the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. It's a reminder of the necessity of unity among Palestinians and Arabs, without which the hopes for an independent Palestinian state would fade away. Adil Mahroui, CGTN, Cairo.
Meanwhile, in DR Congo, official parliamentary elections are taking place in parts of the country where voting was unable to happen in December. Citizens in Beni, Butembo, as well as the Western Yumbi region were unable to vote due to violence, as well as the Ebola outbreak. President Felix Tshisekedi won the December 30th poll. It marked the first peaceful transition of power in the country's history.
Well, it's absolutely a special day for us because we have been so upset we couldn't vote. Ebola is still rampant in the city and the area. But look, now we are voting. They stole our choice to vote for the president, and now we are voting for the provincial and national members of parliament.
Voters in the DRC provinces of Beni, Butembo and Yumbi cast their ballots in long-delayed polls to elect new legislators. They had to wash their hands in the Ebola-stricken areas to prevent the disease from spreading. The Congolese government excluded residents of the three provinces from voting in the presidential polls last December because of the Ebola outbreak and the insecurity in Yumbi town. But the Ebola outbreak is still a threat in North Kivu province. The number of cases has exceeded 1,000, with more than 650 deaths reported since August last year. And that has led some voters to accuse the government of former President Joseph Kabila of using the Ebola outbreak as a reason to deny them the opportunity to vote in presidential polls. The Electoral Commission will announce the preliminary results of the national and provisional legislative elections next week. Chris Sachamringa, CGTN, Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo.
The Somali government has been reshuffling top military commanders in a bid to improve security. There has been a wave of deadly Al-Shabaab attacks in the capital Mogadishu, targeting hotels and ministries. General Abdi Hassan Mohammed, formerly a military attaché posted in Saudi Arabia, has been appointed the new Deputy Chief of Staff of the country's armed forces. He replaces General Odawa Yusuf Ragi, who has been promoted as the new infantry commander. General Abdi Rashid Abdullahi Shire serves as his deputy. Admiral Abbas Amin has been made the new commander of the Somali Navy.
The Somali infantry forces have been created. Managing these forces used to be the responsibility of the Somali Army Chief of Staff. From Today, henceforth, a commander of the Somali infantry forces has been appointed. All the infantry forces and their military academies will be under his management. The military commanders will also be categorized, and all the commanders serving under the Somali infantry forces will be under the command of the infantry chief.
You're watching Africa Live. Still ahead on the program. Egypt joins World Earth Hour this year with its future capital. And Cape Town Tattoo Convention attracts international artists.
You're watching breaking news on CGTN.
Welcome to the world today on CGTN.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
The world has marked Earth Hour on Saturday night. Capitals have switched off lights over their landmarks. Egypt, however, joined this year with its future capital. The new administrative capital is announced to be the biggest green city in the country, currently under construction. Here's Adil Mahroui with more.
Since 2009, Egypt has joined the Earth Hour initiative to create awareness for saving the environment. Every year, Cairo chose a unique monument for the event. This weekend, it switched off the lights of its landmark buildings in the new administrative capital.
The new administrative capital is being selected as a message to the world. Egypt is going through an economic transformation, but while doing that, Egypt is able to conserve and sustainably manage its natural resources. Having that from the new administrative capital is showing to the world that this is our first city that will be environmentally friendly.
In addition to saving energy, the Ministry of Environment invited politicians and celebrities to attend a show dedicated to shed light over Egypt's recent efforts in sustainability.
We are designing our national adaptation plan. The whole idea of the role of the Ministry of Environment is to engage others, let them integrate the climate change aspect in their work, support them to get the finance that is needed to do the technology, support the capacity building, and strategically and politically manage all the ministries to be able to face the adverse impact on climate change, because they are the one who are going to pay the price for that.
Egypt is allocating millions of dollars to support projects in water resources, waste management, and renewable energy. Beside the new administrative capital, the country is building 14 new green smart cities. Adil Mahroui, CGTN, Cairo.
Critical Mass Nairobi, a cycling group, is sharing the environmental and health benefits of getting on a bike. The group organizes monthly rides around the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Ashtatal has more.
Ready, pedal, go. These cyclists are taking part in Critical Mass Nairobi. Once a month, cyclists gather in Nairobi's Jivanji Gardens before heading on a 10-kilometer bike ride around the Kenyan capital city. Critical Mass looks to encourage more people to get on bikes.
Critical Mass began with the hope of getting more people cycling again, because we realize people are not cycling, a lot of people are stuck in traffic.
Critical Mass was founded in 1992 in the American city of San Francisco, but now it is hosted in hundreds of cities around the world. It's gained traction here in Nairobi, where traffic and air pollution remain a problem. Traffic jams are a common sight in the capital, with some participants and residents seeing cycling as a way to alleviate the problem.
The traffic in Nairobi, I think it's their future. People should embrace biking.
As well as trying to get Nairobians to be more active, Critical Mass also looks to make the city more biker-friendly. For Jimmy Karumba, this mission gets personal. A professional cyclist, he volunteers for Critical Mass by mapping out the route ahead of time. He was hit by a bus, locally referred to as a matatu. Both his legs broke, and he spent 6 months in recovery.
When people are taught driving school, they need to be told that the other cyclists, you need to respect them. And also as a cyclist, we need to know the rules of the road.
Jimmy continues to pedal on, hoping to share his passion of cycling and spread the message on its environmental benefits. Astatal, CGTN, Nairobi, Kenya.
In the meantime, though, in South Africa, tattoo enthusiasts descended on the 3rd South African International Tattoo Convention in Cape Town. Held at the V&A waterfront, tattoo artists from 15 countries showcased their talents over the weekend. Here's CGTN's Astatal again with that report.
At the South African International Tattoo Convention, tattoo artists from all over the world have joined the country's homegrown talent to ply their trade.
I like the eyeball one too.
Held over 3 days in Cape Town, the event focuses on intimacy and authenticity. Here, visitors can engage with the culture of tattooing and even leave with a work of art on their skin.
It's a by-invitation event and we invite 90 tattooers to participate, which we do purely on their sort of culture and style of tattooing. It's not necessarily the biggest name, but it's very much about an authentic artist. So we have, I would say, like a 70-30 split within that 90 that is international versus local.
These tattoo artists are serious about their craft. Each has their own unique style, but many draw on Oriental influences.
I feel Asian style's got more power to it, got a lot more soul within the imagery. I tried to adapt more loose lines, so it looks like it's kind of in a Chinese paint strokes instead of connected lines that form a hard, solid image.
I went for a knife and a rose. It's a bit more sexy but also dangerous, so very cool, yeah.
In its 3rd year, the convention might not be big on counting foot traffic, but has managed to attract some 2,000 people. With tattooing now part of mainstream culture, the crowd looks forward to more original talent in the years to come. Astatal, CGTN.
You're watching Africa Live. Still ahead on the program. In your sports news, South Africa's national blind cricket team seeks to reclaim its top status.
You don't find the stories of North Africa by sitting on the sidelines. You've got to get out, go there, and you'll find them. In the bazaars of Casablanca, among the crowds in Cairo,
who come to visit Cairo, the ancient capital of Egypt.
along the waters of the Nile, along the sands of the Sahara. No one else will take you where we can in North Africa. No one else will show you what it's all about. CGTN, see the difference.
The greatest journeys, the greatest sights, the greatest adventures.
Here in Qanater, this weir allows the locals to walk on water.
We're far more than just TV news. We're your passport to the wonders of Africa.
To bring you stories of struggle, survival and hope.
So let's explore. CGTN. See the difference.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Let's start your sport in South Africa, where the country's national blind cricket team is giving the visually impaired a chance to use their other senses and compete internationally in one of the country's most popular sports. The jingle of a ball paired with help from talkative teammates is all they need to get the game going. CGTN's Julie Shire now reports.
Cricket, a common sight in South Africa, but this is a game with a difference. All the players here are blind or partially sighted. Blind cricket is based on the traditional laws of cricket, but in this format, bowlers deliver a ball under the arm and the batsman sweeps after judging its direction by hearing the ball bearings. Here, keeping an ear on the ball is key for these cricketers.
The ball is the major adaptation. It is plastic, larger than a traditional cricket ball and filled with ball bearings for audible cues. The stumps are also larger and painted in fluorescent colors, allowing partially sighted players to orientate themselves.
In this cricket-mad country, playing the sport has helped these players integrate into society in a country where the disabled are sometimes marginalized.
I love this game so much. When I'm stressed too much, then it's the way I reduce my stress. When you talk about playing cricket to other people, they don't believe it's happening. And then it's where we came in and then said, this is a sport we can, that people that they can't believe that they can do something, that they can.
We are growing together as a unit in terms of the blind cricket squad, in terms of blind cricket as a whole. We are exposed to cricket these days much more than what it has been in the past.
But just as regular cricket, teamwork is vital. And after some time in the cricket wilderness, the 1998 Blind Cricket World Champions are looking to regain their status as the leading team in the world.
The guys that are here today, they are starting to plan for the 2021 World Cup. But there's other things that we're trying to plan. Our big test for the national team is New Zealand. They're coming here to South Africa. We're going to play T20s and one day in Cape Town. We want to see what we can do and make sure that we start getting to the top where we used to be.
Countries like Pakistan, India, they have professional blind cricket players that just play blind cricket. We don't get that much opportunities to get together with national training camps. But when we get a chance like this, it is a new young team, new young players coming up, and this gives them really the big opportunity to see what some of the older guys, what it is about to how to play international blind cricket.
With one World Cup victory under their belt and with the support of Cricket South Africa, this team wants to reclaim its glory and take their place once again amongst the top nations in the world. Julie Shara, CGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.
And we cross over to motorsports, where Belgian and